of neighbors helping neighbors last night. Assemblymember Chris Rogers, good morning to you. Let's start with the Assemblymember on the state briefing of emergency services. Assemblymember.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, I just want to say thank you to the city manager and all of our local partners. Just an incredible job making sure that you got the information out to folks last night. We still continue to coordinate with the Office of Emergency Services. They are on standby. Obviously, as we said last night, this is not a one issue, a one wave incident that we do expect to see continued activity for the next 30 hours. We are on standby and ready to bring in any resources that we need to be able to assist Del Norte County and in Crescent City. With that, I'll kick it over to Neil, our county partner.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Yeah, nothing new really from the county's perspective from last night's briefing. We continued to monitor the situation throughout the night, of course, with our other operational area partners. Updates were provided on the hour through Cal OES, which also included the Northwest Weather Service and USGS. Nothing significant to report from a field perspective on the county side of things from the sheriff's office or any other agencies. I did want to remind the community that the county did establish a temporary evacuation point at the 810 H Street Veteran Memorial Building. Reports this morning were that we had 11 people spend the night at the temporary evacuation point, as well as 5 others that were in their vehicles at the location. And other than that, I don't have a lot to report from the county's perspective. We'll continue to monitor the situation and join into the hourly calls provided by Cal OES and provide updates as they come to us.
Thank you so much, Neil Lopez, County Administrative Officer for the County of Del Norte. We're now going to hear from Crescent City. That's Eric Weir, City Manager. Take it over, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Senator McGuire, Assemblymember Wood, CEO Lopez. It was a long night for all of us, and just sincerely appreciate this community for doing what this community does. There was a lot of uncertainty last night. The tsunami sirens went off, and the community evacuated. That is exactly what we have to do. So, Crescent City community members, thank you guys for doing that. First responders were monitoring the situation throughout the night. And we were fortunate this time. There was significant tsunami surges. We're still dealing with those now, but it did stay within the banks of Elk Creek, basically. And that was the low-lying area. That was the area that we were most concerned about last night. So fortunately, it did reach a higher level. It reached right around 8 feet, I think, which is kind of a high king tide for us. But it didn't create any flooding. From a city standpoint, water, sewer, infrastructure is all still intact. We were very fortunate on that. City downtown is at a high enough elevation that it is open, and so you can go about your business in the downtown. Farmers market's open this Wednesday, and we're fortunate. So just thank you, citizens of Crescent City community, coming together, doing your thing like you do. That's what we have to do as these things come. So, Senator, I'll kick it back to you.
Thank you so much. This is your 8 a.m. morning briefing on the tsunami response on behalf of the state, with Assemblymember Chris Rogers on behalf of the county, the city, of course, the Harbor District. We're now going to be turning it over to the Harbor Master. We saw peak waves of about 3.5 to 4 feet overnight. Continued dangerous ocean conditions today. Let's turn it over to the Harbor Master. Harbor Master, we saw some relatively minor damage, but damage to one of the docks. Mr. Harbor Master, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, my name is Mike Rydermaker, the Harbor Master, the Crescent City Harbor District, and I want to thank all of our interagency partners. As was mentioned, we didn't have any injuries, fortunately, but we did sustain some damage within the Interboat Basin at approximately 2:40 a.m. We noticed there was a surge of water several feet in height that caused the decking of H dock to lift along its pilings. So as the water levels continued to rise, the structure was unable to adjust, and the decking became lodged on the pilings and was eventually submerged, and this resulted in major structural failure and complete separation of the dock. At that time, we observed some electrical arcing and sparking. We didn't want to shut off the power completely to the docks during the tsunami event in order to allow for emergency pumping as necessary, but after the arcing and sparking, we did shut off power, and we have a surveillance video that we'll be releasing to the press. All vessel movements at this time, both arrivals and departures, are prohibited until further notice under my authority in order to prevent personal injury and protect the harbor infrastructure. Power and water service dock areas have been shut off, and wave surges are ongoing, as was mentioned. We haven't observed any loose, drifting, or damaged vessels. However, during one of the recurring water surge events, multiple fishing vessels attempted to return to port, but were turned away by the U.S. Coast Guard via the VHF Channel 16 as a safety precaution. All the other docks have remained intact with the exception of H dock, which bore the brunt of the impact and absorbed most of the energy from the wave action. So many people recall that following the catastrophic tsunami in 2011, our inner boat basin was completely reconstructed to be tsunami resistant. So the current infrastructure includes 30-inch diameter steel piles that are encased in high-density polyethylene sleeves. They are driven 21 to 37 feet into the bedrock for added stability. So notably, H-Dock was engineered as a wave and current attenuator with closely spaced pilings, which are specifically designed to disrupt and dissipate tsunami energy before it reaches the inner harbor. So its sacrificial role in the overall design appears to have functioned as intended, absorbing the brunt of the surge and helping to protect the more interior docks. So we're still doing some further damage assessments. It's not safe to make a close observation, and we'll provide further updates as additional information becomes available.
Thank you so much. That's Harbor Master Mike Rydermaker from the Del Norte Harbor District. And I think, Mr. Harbor Master, before we turn it over to Matthew Kidwell from the National Weather Service, you are asking folks to be able to stay away at this time from going down to the harbor, from looking at ocean conditions due to the continued swell and dangerous conditions that exist. Is that correct, Mr. Harbor Master?
Yeah, exactly. We want to keep everyone on the beaches and especially transiting vessels, because these wave surges are unpredictable. They can cause vessels to slam into the docks, and it's a major safety concern. So yeah, use some discretion.
Right. So until further notice, asking all folks to be able to stay away from the harbor, and the Coast Guard will continue to turn away vessels who want to return until further notice. I think this is a good segue to be able to turn it over to Matthew Kidwell. Mr. Kidwell is the lead meteorologist with the National Weather Service here on the North Coast, coming to us from the Eureka Weather Center. Mr. Kidwell, let's do a recap of what we saw last night. Wave activity peaked at about 3.5, 4 feet. Let's talk about the next 24 hours as well. Mr. Kidwell, what can Del Norte County residents expect over the next 24 hours due to the tsunami activity? Matthew Kidwell, National Weather Service, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, the waves are slowly diminishing, but they're pretty stubbornly persistent in Crescent City. So most likely at some point this morning, the tsunami warning will be downgraded to an advisory. That still doesn't mean you're out of the woods. There's still going to be a lot of currents, strong currents through the day. I would expect through a lot of the day, you'll need to be especially cautious of the ocean. And even possibly into tonight, and even once the advisory drops, there could be some minor currents continuing. But overall, we're on the downward trend on the wave size, and yeah.
That's great. Mr. Kidwell, let's talk a little bit about ocean and beach conditions. Based off of the turbulent, dangerous ocean activity we're seeing today, recommendation, stay away from beaches throughout the day today, Wednesday. Matthew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think definitely want to stay away all through the day today. Yeah, extra cautious.
All right.
And Matthew, just sort of tagging on to that a little bit, just to give people an example of what we're seeing. We are still seeing tide fluctuations of about 3 feet from the last I saw on the tide gauges in a matter of, say, 6 to 12 minutes. So these fluctuations are pretty dramatic, and certainly it must carry high currents. And that's where beaches are just really very dangerous right now. And that's where we're asking people to stay away just for their own safety. It seems like whenever we have these events, it's also a time that we lose someone just because they're in the wrong place and they get caught off guard and then they're swept out.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the really tricky part. You know, it's like, well, conditions are improving, but they're still pretty severe, and you need to stay away. This is the most dangerous time. People think it's ending, but it's really still going. And so we need to be extra cautious through the day.
Matthew, one of the top questions I'm sure folks will be getting throughout the community today is how long do we think that warning will be in effect? And a tsunami warning means there is ongoing wave activity happening, and that's what we're seeing in Del Norte County. Matthew, I think that's something that you're going to be reevaluating with your partners in this at the federal level about how long this warning will remain in effect. Matthew, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but take it away.
Yeah, so we're working with the Tsunami Warning Center out of Palmer, Alaska. And I also want to clarify, there's a difference between a warning and an advisory. And so a warning means the waves will be around a meter or around 3 feet or larger and causing significant damage. An advisory is more on the lines of there will be strong currents in the harbor. And so when I say we might be dropping the warning down to an advisory this morning, that means that conditions are improving, but the hazard is still there. As long as there's an advisory out, there's still hazardous conditions in the bay.
100%. Yeah, and look, I think that goes for folks who are in Klamath as well, right? Whether you are living in Klamath, if you're living in Crescent City, you need to be able to heed these warnings. Stay away from low-lying coastal areas today. Stay away from beaches. Stay away from harbors as we are continuing to see surge from this 8.8 earthquake in far eastern Russia. That wave activity is continuing to impact California's coast, and in particular here in Crescent City. This is your 8 a.m. morning briefing and update about response to the tsunami. We're going to do one last recap here. Mr. City Manager, final words and recap on what folks should expect throughout Crescent City. Any impact for activity throughout the city today, Mr. City Manager?
You know, the main thing is just be aware from the city side. Right? We're still dealing with these, and like I say, the fluctuations in tide are extreme and something you don't see on a normal basis. Does make it dangerous. So stay away from the beaches. Help our first responders out by not putting yourself in danger. That's the major ask from the city side of things. For now, the Lighthouse Cove RV Park and the pool and beachfront area are going to remain closed. We do expect those to open up later this morning. We just want to exercise an abundance of caution right now to try to keep people safe till at least we know a little bit more, and we'll be working with the National Weather Service on that.
And Mr. City Manager, you've been working with the police chief, the police department. There's enhanced patrols happening throughout the community right now. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, we'll continue to follow ABC 10 Plus streaming from Crescent City as they're making sure people stay away from harbors and the ocean side there just in case.